right, let's hit the field.
It is April 29th, and the Yankees were taking on the Orioles in Game 2 of a 3-game set. Carlos Rodon was on the mound trying to back up a great performance in Cleveland. Plus, we got a Statcast data dive with Aiden Deschamps. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Tremendous night for the Yankees. And welcome back to Kyle Gibson, who made his first start of the season for the Baltimore Orioles. And the Yankees promptly welcomed him with back-to-back home runs to lead off the game. Wow. Second time this year they've done that. First team in history. If you're a Yankees fan, it's hard to imagine a game going much better than this one. With the exception of Jazz Chisholm's injury, he left with right flank soreness. I'm sure we'll find out more in the coming days after he has some testing. But, I mean, dominating pitching from Carlos Rodon, insane offensive production, 15 runs, 19 hits, and 6 solo home runs for the New York Yankees. 4 out of the first 5 hitters hit home runs, and the Yankees polish off a 15-3 win in the middle game of this 3-game set. And like I said, second time this year that they have hit back-to-back home runs to lead off the game. That is incredible. They were the first team to ever do it, and there was not much mystery at all in this one. Just completely and utterly curb stomping the Baltimore Orioles. Not only home runs, but everybody was raking. Bellinger was raking. Goldschmidt was raking. Peraza had a couple of hits. Volpe had a couple of doubles. Just a great night. Volpe's got 10 doubles now. And 2 straight dominating performances by Carlos Rodon. I'm going to run through the recap, and then we'll have our resident analytics enthusiast, Aiden Deschamps, on for the second half of the show to discuss the Yankees' Statcast data through the first 30 games of the season. Series is even at 1. Rubber game tomorrow.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
Trent Grisham. I mean, how do you explain this guy other than he's amazing? And he wasted no time tonight flexing the dad muscles.
See ya. A home run for Grisham.
Handing out the free, all expenses paid, all-inclusive, front row, express lane, no reservations needed, 5-star Michelin certified, mustache rides, complimentary beverage service included. Home run number 8 on the season for Trent Grisham. Hard to believe he's got 8 home runs already. The dude has found it offensively. Now, we got a couple of guys who are putting up huge numbers so far this year. He and Rice come to mind. Of those 2 guys who have kind of come onto the scene, the Yankees are hitting with more left-handed power, really, than they have throughout the lineup in recent years, with the exception of Soto. And, you know, Rice looks like he is definitely for real. We'll see if Grisham can maintain this, but the Yankees are making an effort to get him in the lineup more often. And it's working. Tonight it came at the expense of Jason Dominguez. But, I mean, you can't complain about a home run. He was 1 for 6, but he's hitting .294 with an OPS of 1.030. Next batter was somebody you may have heard of, Mr. Aaron Judge. Another home run for the captain. Opposite field shot. 9th home run of the season. He always hits well in Baltimore, and that wasn't even one of his better shots. Aaron Boone said before the game, don't count him out as hitting .400. He went 2 for 3 tonight with 3 runs scored. He is hitting .412 on the season with a 1.235 OPS. And you know what? Boone is right. He hasn't gotten totally hot yet because he hasn't started hitting home runs in bunches yet. But he is getting hits, and the home runs are starting to, you know, one every couple of days now. And before too long, he's going to be hitting 2 a game and then, you know, 7 in 10 games. That's how it's going to be. Third batter of the game, Ben Rice. Unbelievable. Rice, baby. Ding, 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 ding. 7th home run of the season for Rice. Absolutely on fire to begin the season, and he was not done. Now, his batting average has slipped a little bit, but he has been pretty unlucky. We'll talk about that more with Aiden in a little while. Also in the first inning, we're using up all the sound effects tonight. Cody Bellinger getting in on the act with the belly bomb. Home run for Cody Bellinger. And we're going to just play the run clap for that. We're breaking out all the effects. We're out of buttons here. Jazz Chisholm also doubled in the first inning. He made it to third on an error, but had to leave the game with right flank discomfort, as I mentioned. The Yankees seem to be really cautious with oblique injuries and rib cage injuries and stuff like that. I'd imagine they're going to sit him for a few days at least. If he doesn't need to be IL'd, he's going to sit for a few days. People forget that he's kind of had an injury-riddled career, and you wonder how long he's going to be out, but at least he got the double. He ends on a positive note, so maybe when he comes back, he's got something positive on his mind. Volpe ripped one into the left field corner for a double to make it 5-0. Yankees batted around in the first inning. And from there, it was just a good old-fashioned, passionate ass-whooping. Second inning, Ben Rice again.
Drop bombs.
Another home run, second of the game. This one was a monster shot. It looked like it might have even one-hopped the warehouse. And I tweeted, if he hits a third one, we'll shave the head live on the broadcast. But this year, I get to keep my hair. And my wife's happy about it. She was not thrilled that I sent out that tweet because last year I followed through and I shaved my head. And she, quite frankly, didn't want me to do it again. So, be lucky. Be lucky on that one. Perhaps starting to hear the footsteps, the very loud footsteps on Giancarlo Stanton coming back. But he doesn't care. He just continues to rake. And we'll talk about this more with Aiden too. What do you do? I mean, what do you do when Giancarlo comes back? Do you just use Giancarlo against lefties? Is he a $27 million DH versus lefties only? That would be the most overpaid position in baseball. But I don't see how you can take Ben Rice out of the lineup. I just don't see it. I think the Yankees should get him taking reps at third. I know that it's very difficult to play good third base at the major league level. He has played first base. There is an old adage in baseball that if you can play first base, you can play third base. He throws right-handed, so maybe you take a chance. It would be different if he was a left-handed thrower. You wouldn't do that, but because he throws right-handed, it gives you that advantage. But I just don't know what you're going to do when Giancarlo comes back, and every day that ticks off the calendar here, we get closer to that decision. And I think it's going to be a platoon situation. Goldie was hitting ropes all night. I might even say Goldie Knox. Before long, it was 12-0. Game was over. And Rodon was twirling a gem. Volpe stole a couple of bases. Stole a couple of base hits, at shortstop tonight. Put an absolute show on. Rodon, phenomenal. We'll talk about him more in a minute. Wells homered in the 9th inning, and the Yankees complete the blowout victory 15-3.
Game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
And Gregory Wayne brings up the fact that Rice has shown that he can hit left-handed pitchers. You're absolutely correct. I mean, the guy is elite. I think he's going to be the real deal. I do not think this is a fluke. I think that he's going to keep hitting. I think he has a chance to be an all-star. We got some calls about it, but this was an unbelievable game for the Yankees offense. And so many belt candidates. I mean, we could go with Rodon. He was absolutely filthy. Grisham with the leadoff home run, but he was 1 for 6. Judge homered, 2 for 3. Bellinger was 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a couple of walks. He's got the average over 200 now and slowly climbing. We'll dive into his Statcast numbers as well. But to me, the belt winner is Mr. Ben Rice. Now hitting .278 on the season, .998 OPS, 8 home runs, which is a career high. He had 7 home runs last year and 152 at-bats, I believe. So well ahead of his pace. I think he's a 25 to 35 home run guy. I don't see how you take him out of the lineup. And as people have mentioned, he hits lefties. So, the Yankees have a huge conundrum here, but it's a good problem to have because the dude can absolutely rake. Let's move on to the pitcher spotlight. Carlos Rodon was terrific in his last outing against the Guardians. And when I recorded the pregame show, and when I filmed the intro for this podcast, he was the story that I thought we would be talking about because he usually either dominates or gets pummeled. He just makes himself the story, right? He'll either dominate like he did tonight or give up a big 3-run home run. Tonight, though, he was aggressive. The Yankees obviously gave him a huge lead, 5-0 in the first inning, and he was just pounding the zone and cruising. And he took a perfect game into the 6th before he allowed a walk and a double. So the home runs have kind of hurt his ERA this year. It's at 3.43, but he's pitched really well. He's leading the league in strikeouts last I checked, and just a tremendous performance. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He threw 91 pitches, 57 of them were strikes. Max velo was 97.5, and his season ERA is 3.43, so terrific performance. However, it does come with a caveat. My Nostradamus prediction for the game was 8 strikeouts from Rodon, so he did let me down there.
I've never been so wrong in my whole life.
All right, so now we're going to move on and talk a little bit of Statcast with our guy, Aiden, who is waiting patiently. Aiden, how about that game tonight, man? How was that?
It was over before it started, man. Before Rodon could even get on the mound, I was like, okay, we won this one. It should be easy cruising for him, especially over his past couple starts.
Yeah, he's looked good, man, and I like that he was pounding the strike zone. I like that he was throwing that changeup a lot. You know, he was getting swings and misses. He always gets swings and misses, but tonight he had some really ugly swings on that changeup, that fading kind of down and away. Now, I talk about this on the podcast occasionally. I mention you all the time when Ben Rice does something good because we almost always text each other. Like, even when he was catching the other day, you sent me like the eyeball emoji. Oh, he's in there behind the dish. And it's funny because we're both big Austin Wells fans too, so we can bring that up. But the first thing I want to do is bring up Ben Rice's Statcast because, I mean, can you even believe what we're seeing here, Aiden? Can you even believe it?
I mean, you know, you just look at all the red there, and the guy's a Statcast darling. I mean, we knew last year that this guy had pop, but this is on a completely different level. You know, you see the top tier barrel rates, top tier hard hit rates. And what's even better too is that he's performing super well against high velocity pitching. Against pitches 95 miles per hour or higher. Entering tonight, he has an OPS of 1.108 against them. So, you know, it's just super encouraging what we're seeing from him so far. And he looks like a different hitter with a completely different approach.
How do you handle the Stanton situation when he comes back? I mean, do you go platoon? I mean, do you really dare to go $27 million left-handed only DH from somebody who, by the way, was the ALCS MVP? But I'll throw this caveat in there. He's got 2 elbow problems that he's coming back. Does that keep him healthier down the stretch if he's not chasing sliders down and away?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think we are being a little overly optimistic about Stanton's health and when he'll be back. I mean, elbow tendonitis is essentially what he has, I believe, and that's not an easy injury to come back from. I had it myself when I got into high school, and I never threw the same again. I never threw without pain again. But as for the platoon situation, I think it's gonna be a platoon, but not in the way that we think. I think that we're going to be seeing Stanton and Rice both get reps at DH. Rice is going to mix in with first base as well to give Goldschmidt a day off maybe. And then, like we mentioned earlier, he was catching the other day. This guy started as a catcher in the Yankees minor league system. So I think we could even see him get some games in as a catcher just to get this guy in the lineup. I think it's going to be a really unique situation, and the Yankees are going to handle it the best they can because there's no way you can take this guy out of the lineup, but it's definitely a unique situation, and I guess we'll see when they get there. So
it's a good problem to have, Aiden. It's a good problem to have. Let's talk about Carlos Rodon. He was phenomenal tonight, man. I was talking on the pregame show about how his Statcast has changed over the years. I'm just going to hit the play button here on the Statcast ratings, and we can watch them change throughout the years. He's a guy who got progressively better and better and better in his metrics all the way up to the point where he joined the Yankees, and then they kind of fell off a cliff in 2023. Last year, he worked them back a little bit, but this year, Aiden, and we'll see it when it gets there, he looks really, really good across the metrics, and the home runs have hurt his numbers, and we've given him some hard times over the meatballs, but I think that he has turned a corner with the Yankees, and he keeps posting like he's out there every single time. You see last year the off-speed run value jump up in some of the red, and this year it's all red, as Frankie says, looking like the elevator in The Shining.
Yeah, I mean, Rodon, as for, his home runs, that does hurt his ERA a lot, but that's kind of the pitcher he is, and I think we kind of have to accept that because at this point, he's going for whiffs and Ks, and you see that this year he's well up there in his K rates and his whiff rates. I think you mentioned he leads the league in strikeouts, and what's also really interesting is that his fly ball rate has dropped significantly this year as compared to last year, and he's getting a lot more ground balls at, I think, a 48% rate. So, we know fly balls don't play well in Yankee Stadium. The fact that he's cut back on that has been, that sinker and as well as that changeup. We talked about his changeup last summer on here, and I was emphasizing that that's a pitch he needs to work in more, and he's done that. It's become really effective, and then adding that sinker in the offseason has helped him big time. He had a rocky start to the season. I remember that start in Detroit, that start against San Francisco, but since then he's picked it up in his last 3 starts, and he got a lot of heat among Yankees fans, but we've been real quiet about him lately. He's been really, really good.
Wayne Wilcox says, put Rice behind the plate because the Yankees catcher sucks. Well, the Yankees catcher just hit a home run 5 minutes ago. Austin Wells homered in the 9th inning. Now, he was, 1 for 6 today? Let me just double check. He was, 1 for 6. But still, look at his numbers Statcast-wise. They're really solid. The hard hit percentage is great. The barrel percentage, the average exit velocity is 92 miles an hour. This guy smokes the baseball. I think he's been extraordinarily unlucky, Aiden.
Yeah, so, right. His EV and his hard hit numbers are looking great, especially for a catcher. I do think he's also hitting some bad luck, but my issue with him so far is he's just popping up all the time. He's hitting a ton of fly balls. His fly ball rate is at 59.4%. That's really high. So he needs to level out that swing a bit because he's only hitting the line drives at a 9.4% rate. But, he's still producing pretty well offensively, 105 OPS plus. Just has to get on base more, pick that up a little bit. And you also just can't hate him behind the plate as well. He's been pretty good defensively, 1 framing run on the year already. And I think, it's hard to kind of pick apart when you watch the games, but I think he's calling games pretty well. He's blocking the ball and he looks super comfortable back there. So, yeah, I think it's a little early to tell with his bat, but I think it'll level out soon.
And he's hit a couple of balls that, he hit one off the top of the wall that came back in that, one more Cheerio and it's a home run. And then he had a couple down there in Tampa that got knocked down by the wind. So he's hit some balls hard that didn't result in home runs that probably could have. Anthony Volpe, he's a guy who's caught a lot of the fans' grief recently, but he's starting to heat up. He's up to 239 now. He's got 5 home runs. He had another multi-hit game today. He's got 10 doubles on the year. And his Statcast numbers, with the sample size growing now, 125 plate appearances, about, a fifth of the way through the season, roughly, are starting to look better than league average. And you still look at the range, 90th percentile. The arm strength we know is not great, but he gets rid of the ball quick. The plays he made tonight to preserve the perfect game in the 5th inning, even Rodon was just blown away by that play on Laureano. Tremendous night on defense, but also continues to hit the ball better. I thought he had better swings recently, taking the ball to right field. He hit one tonight that I believe they might have called it an error. Baltimore made 3. He hit one right at Gunnar Henderson. I'm not sure how they scored it, but it has to be an error because it went in and out of the glove. But he smoked it. So what are your thoughts on Volpe so far?
Yeah, like you mentioned, he had that multi-hit game tonight, and it almost feels like it should have been 3 hits because that ball he smoked at Henderson was 107 miles per hour off the bat. Wow. And he had some trouble coming up with it. But he's caught a lot of flack from Yankees fans this year. I think people are disappointed that he's in year 3 and we haven't really seen much of an improvement or jump in his numbers. But Something encouraging though is that his exit velocity and hard hit rates have taken a huge jump this year. I think he's fixed some things mechanically, put on a little more muscle, and then, maybe that torpedo bat's helping that a little bit. His average exit velocity in 2024 was 87.7 miles per hour. This year it's 91.2. That's a pretty significant jump exit velocity wise. And, I think we have to consider this with Volpe too. He only turned 24 yesterday. There's still plenty of room for improvement for him. I think we should have some patience. He's a Gold Glove shortstop. He already has one win above replacement. And also, sure, he doesn't look good at the plate. His average is low, but he still has 119 OPS plus entering tonight. And that means he's creating runs at a well above average rate for this team. So I would preach patience with him. He needs to whiff less and he needs to strike out less. But I think overall, Volpe is a good player. It's just kind of hard to see that right now because it's not sexy.
Let's talk about Belly. Belly went deep. His Statcast numbers are kind of cold. They're on the blue side of things, but I do think he's turning it around a little bit. He had a couple of extra base hits, the home run, obviously. He's played good defense, and I think he runs the base as well, even though the base running value is only in the 13th percentile. I'm not sure that matches the eye test for me. I see a guy who runs the base as well, but, who am I to argue with the data? What are your thoughts on Cody Bellinger from what we're seeing so far?
Yeah, just eye test wise and watching some of the games, haven't been super impressed with him. And then you go and look at his Statcast page and it looks pretty ugly. That's a lot of blue, feels very cold. But I feel like he's been putting together some good at bats recently. He had that home run tonight. Overall, pretty good game. Average hard hit rates, but you can't hate that he's a pretty versatile defender and he does seem to run the bases pretty well. I think, it's 1 month into the season. Let's not react too early, but he hasn't looked great so far, but I think there's some room for improvement.
And Jason Dominguez, I was kind of disappointed to see him not in the lineup tonight against a right-handed pitcher who I think he would have clobbered too. I think that guy was throwing his speed, right? I think he would have hit well tonight, but maybe he's dealing with a little something because yesterday he was the DH. Today they gave him the day off. Maybe his legs are a little bit sore or something like that, and they just want to give him some time. I guess we'll find out if he's in there tomorrow. But who are you going to sit? I mean, Grisham goes deep every day or gets 3 hits, and Bellinger had a good night. So I'd like to see him, but I also, I understand that you want to play the hot hand. Base running has been impressive to me. He hits the ball hard. He's got good bat speed. The right-handed swing is just a mess, Aiden. It's just a mess, and I think that's dragging down his numbers.
Yeah, big time. I haven't been super impressed with him so far, but you kind of expect more from him. But he's only 22 years old. If they're sitting him right now because his legs are sore, I would say, okay, whatever. Like seriously, you're only 22, your legs are sore. But anyway,
my legs got sore in my 20s. It happens. I mean, when you're moving that fast, Aiden, I don't think either one of us has moved that fast. But yeah, it can make you sore.
Sure. I think, he's also just a bit of a defensive liability. Every single time the ball's hit in his direction, I kind of hold my breath. I think that's some of the reason he's just not getting as much reps. But, as much as I say I'm not super impressed with him, he's still producing runs at a above average rate, 110 WRC plus. I'm not quite sure what his OPS plus is, but those are, essentially the same stats. They're kind of used interchangeably. It feels like he's hitting a lot of ground balls, but when you look at his ground ball rate, it's really not that high. It was lower than I expected, but here's what I think is kind of holding him back a little bit. He's going the opposite way a lot. He's going the opposite way 33.9% of the time. Baseball purists love that. They love when guys spray the ball around the field and go the other way. But
guilty.
I'm not really a fan of it for him. Dominguez is he's a short, stocky guy, and you want to get as much power out of him as possible. And when he's going the other way, he's not really using his power that much. It's great, when it falls in for a hit, but I'm trying to see this guy lift the ball and put it over the seats and slug more. And his EV numbers have been a bit disappointing, and I think him going the opposite way a little too much is what's hurting him.
Oh, maybe that's a correction he can make. Paul Goldschmidt. This is one of those guys that I was not I was not bout it when they signed him.
I've never been so wrong in my whole life.
Neither was I.
But he has really shown me something, Aiden. I mean, look at the red on this guy's chart. Line drive after line drive. We call him Goldilocks here on Pinstripe territory. What are your thoughts on Paul Goldschmidt?
Yeah, I've been just as blown away, if not more blown away than you by his production so far. You know, when they signed him in December, January, I was like, this guy is 37. This might not go too well. He had a pretty rough year last year, but you know, if you told me when you signed him that he would have an 879 OPS entering tonight, I really wouldn't have believed you. And it's shocking and impressive that he is the second highest batting average in the American League right now. But even more impressive, he's really mashing lefties. Entering tonight, he's batting .619 with a .677 OBP against left-handed pitching, and he doesn't really smoke the ball per se, but he's still making good contact, as you can see with his launch angle sweet spot percentage. He's hitting a ton of line drives. He doesn't whiff. He makes contact often. He doesn't strike out a lot. And the expected numbers, as you can see, love him. Would love to see him walk a little bit more, but that's kind of just a nitpick. He's, one of the best offensive producers on this team right now. But yeah, he had a bad year last year, but he started to put it together in the second half, and he seemed to carry it into this year. And I love what I'm seeing from him so far.
And I'm loving the OBP, 415 so far. You'll sign up for that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And the final one, I guess we'll end on a down note here. Devin Williams, he pitched a scoreless inning yesterday to get his ERA down to 10.0. This guy was a Statcast monster last year. What the hell is wrong right now? What's going wrong?
I think it's just a simple and classic case of the yips. Yankees fans are not forgiving. And I think when you come into a game and people are chanting, "We want Weaver," that's not exactly going to help either. But
well, get somebody out. We won't chant that anymore. It's a catch-22,
right,
man.
That's right. But, we've seen over the past, 4 or 5 years that he's been one of, if not the best closers in Major League Baseball. So like I always preach on the show, just a bit of patience. You have to see how things play out. I think this guy's going to figure it out. Let's stop giving him flack for him being the reason the Yankees changed the beard rule. We all wanted that rule gone anyways. So yes. I don't know why we're complaining about that, but yeah, I think it's a simple case of the yips, and he just needs to get back there mentally. He needs more low leverage reps, and I'm glad that they took him out of the closer role because it's exactly what he needed. He had a scoreless inning last night in the 8th inning. I think it's just, let's wait it out. Let's let him get over this mental block he has, and he'll be effective come October.
Aiden, hopefully we'll have you back again at some point in the near future to talk more through Statcast stuff. We'll take a look at a different set of players next time, including the guy on our screen right now, Max Fried, who we didn't even get into, who is working on a Cy Young campaign. So we'll check it back in with Aiden as the season goes on. Quick word from the guys over at Foul Territory about Nutrafol, and then I'll be back. We got a couple of voicemails, and we'll take your comments. Aiden, thank you very much.
Hair thinning is very common, very frustrating problem that many men deal with. From stress and nutrition to hormones to lifestyle, so many internal factors affect what you see on the outside. Luckily, Nutrafol is here to help.
Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to their hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol for a limited time. Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code FOUL. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code FOUL.
All right, and for those of you wondering about the Knicks, down by 2 with 4 minutes to play in their series, they do lead 3-1, so hopefully they can pull it off. We got a few comments here and a few voicemails. Let's start with a voicemail.
Hey, Derek. First of all, I'd like to say, love the show, love what
Appreciate
you do. The pre and post, myself, my father, we tune in every day. Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you, sir.
Not much to really complain about when your team wins 15-2 with 6 home runs and absolutely clobbers the ball in Baltimore. However, can we talk about the fact that Michael Kay, without fail, maybe 4 or 5 times a game, makes some sort of gaffe, some sort of mistake. And never was it more apparent tonight when the Orioles kid, Kerstead, who, I'm sorry, might be one of the most pale kids on the team, even though they have a lot of pale players on their team, he said that it was Mullins hitting, first saying Mullins is 0 for 3 while the kid is still in the box. And then when he worked a walk, said that Cedric Mullins worked the walk. Clearly, Michael is more preoccupied with his phone, and I'm surprised Coney and Girardi didn't call him out on it. Would love to get your perspective. I think Mike needs a nap. I think he needs a rest. I think trying to do his talk show and everything in between, or he just puts the phone down like a normal human being and a normal announcer. So, again, Derek, appreciate what you do. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Bye-bye.
Okay, so a few things on Michael Kay. One, I couldn't listen to the Yankees broadcast tonight. So when the Yankees play the Orioles, I'm in the region where the Orioles are technically my local team. So I get blacked out from watching the Yes Network. I know it's stupid. They need to fix that rule. So I had to watch with the Orioles announcers. And I'll tell you what, Orioles announcers actually were not bad. They call a fair game. They were attentive to detail. I didn't notice any gaffes. Now, look, Michael Kay he's got to be in his 60s, right? I mean, everybody loses a little bit of their fastball as they age. And Michael Kay is not necessarily known as being a healthy eater. So, you eat a lot of garbage. It's not great for your brain. So I'm not surprised. But I also, as someone who podcasts and who makes errors on almost a supernatural level, how often we screw up on this channel, I have sympathy for him. It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult because you can be thinking one thing and you can say another. So I've never confused Kerstead for Mullins, but, I had the Guardians up there the other day when it was the Orioles. I mean, it happens. So I'm going to cut him some slack.
Yeah,
95-95.
Derek,
Knicks.
it's Mary Beth, and I called for a blowout game. Ta-da! And now, in truth, all right, very wonderful. This is the way they can play. I hope the Jazz isn't hurt too much. But I got to go now watch the Knicks because this could be the closeout game. And it's almost halftime, and I got to watch the guys on TNT. The guys on TNT are almost as good as you, Derek. I hope they tune in to learn something. Okay, what a great...
Appreciate that, MB. Calling games isn't my thing, so, I'm not going to, hey, that's difficult. I tried to do one of those watch parties on playback for Foul Territory a couple weeks ago, and I just get so distracted in watching the game that, I would never be good at calling. But, look, to me, the best booth in the business is Michael Kay with David Cohn and Paul O'Neill. That's the best combination.
It's the second inning, and then Rice just hit his second of probably 5 home runs tonight.
I wish.
And I want to do a Mr. Derek prediction of my own. He will be at the All-Star game, and he will be at the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame?
I wish
wow.
he could play sooner than 26. It's sad that he's already, halfway to what other people's careers would be. That's my dog. Okay, thanks, bye.
Appreciate the call. A little early for Hall of Fame, but I'll take it. A very Mark of the Beast 666 watching in the YouTube chat. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe for me and check out the store, nydesigns.shop. We got all sorts of new designs. I'm trying to launch 2 to 3 new designs every single day now. I'm trying to really build it out. The next thing on my list is to do zippered up hoodies. We've had some people request those. We put a whole bunch of the t-shirts with the smaller logo in the upper left. I think it's just called upper left print or whatever. But we put a bunch of new stuff out there. So check that out. Belly Bomb, good day to celebrate that since he went deep. Anyway, it looks like the Pistons have taken a 97-95 lead with 2.5 minutes left in the game. So I'm going to go catch it, but once and for all, Yankees win this one in convincing fashion.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Thanks a bunch, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you tomorrow for the series finale. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.